Hello everyone, and welcome to another review. This time I'd like to talk about the Beyerdynamic T51p set of closed on-air headphones. And before I get started, I'd like to send a big shout out to Audio Sanctuary, the store in New Malden, London. Link in the description, where I've been borrowing my recent review headphones for about a week at a time, giving them a good amount of listening, and then presenting you my honest opinions and thoughts. And big shout out to them for trusting me that much and giving me the opportunity. So, the T51p. For those of you who have been keeping up with my reviews, this will look familiar, because this is very similar looking to the DT1350 coiled cable edition that I reviewed. That was my very second review way back in March. This is basically supposed to be one of the two. There's an iPhone edition too, or old iPhone edition, of the basically the more portable and the more easily driven and fun-tuned, consumer-tuned version of those headphones. So let's get into it about the main differences in build quality. Now I'm going to be contrasting this because I spent a good amount of time with those headphones. I've since sold them, and I don't even know if you can buy them anymore officially. I do see them on Amazon still, but the prices are quite high, and the stock, from what they say, are quite limited, so I'm not sure. But you can still pick these up anytime you want, because these are basically their latest version. So okay, first of all, the incremental adjustments are done like that. As you can hear from the sound of that, this is metal. This is very much Beyerdynamic's way of doing things. They like using metal in their design, so it's very sturdy in that regard. Not at all plastic feeling, not at all Beats feeling, if you know what I mean. This feels like a more premium product, and it also has a bit more weight to it for that reason. I believe this is in 100, almost 200 grams. So the very first thing that I noticed when I got these, when I took these home last week, was the fact that the top part doesn't actually open like the DT1350 did. If you watch my review, you'll see that I told you that I liked the fact that this used to open, and you could have this part on the front of your head and this part on the back if you so choose. This is rigid. This is not going to open. They've cemented this together and stuff for some reason. I'm not sure why. But yeah, their choice. You see Beyerdynamic, made in Germany at the very top. And then you have look at the left and right markers are right here. So, okay, the cable is not detachable. I've argued about detachable cables in the past. I've knocked points off stuff in the past for that reason. Even with portable headphones, guys, detachable cables are a must if you're going over a certain price, and these aren't cheap. Alright, these are a good amount of money to buy these. So if something like the Beats Solo 2 and the Urbanight can do this, and they're in the same price range, why can't this? That's all I'm asking, Beyerdynamic. Why can't you do that? Because these are not detachable, and the cable itself is quite thin. Very unpleasing, displeasing. I really don't like how this cable looks. It's very thin, and the fact that it's non-detachable gives me anxiety. And of course it's terminated in an L-shaped plug. So whatever the next model is going to be, I do believe that that should be a concern. However, I do think that this has been out for a few years now. Their latest version of the T1, the Generation 2, has detachable cables, and I do believe some of their other headphones do too now. So I think they're moving in that direction, which is a great sign, because high-end audio, even mid-fi audio, should not have this problem, because cable problems are so rampant, and you really don't want to send in your unit just because of a cable problem if you aren't able to fix it yourself. So the good news about the cable is I don't hear any microphonics in it. It's pretty sturdy sonically in that sense, so no problems there. The build itself is, like I said, it's got a good amount of weight, but I don't find it too heavy. But I do find this stuff on the top, this padding, is quite weak. Like, I'm not sure how they could implement this better, but that does not look like I don't know. I think this could have been done better in a sense, because this is really, really not that much padding, and it's really not very pleasing to feel in a not cheap headphone. Let's put it that way. The AirPads are, yes, they do remind me a bit of the DT1350 AirPads, which were different than the original DT1350 AirPads because the coiled cable edition were actually more plush. I really can't say if these are more plush or the coiled cable edition of the DT1350 are more plush, but these are all right. But as is the case with most on-ear headphones with me, because of my slightly larger ears, these do get fatiguing after, let's say, 1 hour of listening. So I do need to take them off, give my ears some time to breathe, then I put them back on. It's winter here in London, well, almost winter, so I can't quite tell how these would fare in the summer, but your mileage may vary regarding this. I do know that this, compared to the Beats, this is comfortable, definitely compared to the Beats. Compared to the Urbanite over-ear edition, these aren't so comfortable, but those are over-ear, so that doesn't really, it's not quite the same thing. The look of it, I do appreciate Beyerdynamic's aesthetic. I do think that their reliance on the industrial design using metal is really cool. It does set them apart from other headphone manufacturers, like even, let's say, Sennheiser, who like to rely a lot on plastic. High quality plastic, but still plastic. Beyerdynamic's reliance on metal, and it's their aesthetic now. I don't think it's going to change. Even in their newer stuff, they may go for darker colors, but there's always metal that the darker colors are being painted on. So, build quality wise, I would say this is quite sturdy, except for the cable. It's quite sturdy in its presentation. Comfort wise, that's really up to you. I found them to be about an hour of listening before I started getting fatigued. It could be different for you. The cups, they do lie flat. I know some people like to talk about that when it comes to headphones. These are not foldable, however. Keep that in mind. These do not fold. They do go all the way up, and you can, you can't really put them in your pocket or anything. Put them in your backpack, but these aren't foldable, so keep that in mind. This is not a bendable thing. Okay, now, let me just clean this up a little bit, put the cable a little bit. Okay, now let's talk about the sound of these. The sound characteristics of these is, first of all, they're easier to drive than the DT1350, which is 80 ohms. This is 32 ohms. Okay, that's one thing. What does that mean, easier to drive? Both of them could be played with your portable devices, and I used to listen to the DT1350 on my phone, on the FIO X1, back when I had it. No issues whatsoever. This, however, does get louder easier. So that's just a given, right? The sound of these, though, is not quite like the DT1350, because the DT1350 had a very neutral sound signature to my ears, especially when contrasting it with the M50X by Audio-Technica. The DT1350 had a very neutral sound signature, one that I found quite good for recording music back when I was doing that, and it would actually really bring out just a very flat characteristic to it. Like the bass extension was very good, the sub-bass extension, but it didn't sound heightened. It was there for when you needed it, and you could EQ it up. I used to do that for more electronic genres. I would EQ it up so I could hear the bass, and it didn't distort for its merits. This doesn't need. You don't need to do that with this, because this has a bass boost. The bass volume, it extends about as low as the DT1350, but it's heightened. So this is tuned to be a more bassy can out of the box. There's also more treble extension in this, so there's more snap on the top end. Now that snap can be a double-edged sword, because I do find that even sometimes male vocals do sound a little shrill to me on these headphones, especially when listening to electropop genres and stuff like that. The mids are not as detailed as the DT1350, to my memory and my knowledge regarding that. The mids in this are a little more recessed. So I did look at a frequency response graph, and I took a look at it, and it was kind of wonky, kind of all over the place. And I looked at that. This is all from my listening too, so I can't say I'm colored in my impressions regarding what these sound like according to a frequency responser. But I did take a look at it, and I did notice that it was a little strange. I'll link it in the description so you can all figure it out and see if you want to. The mids were a little, they had random dips, so there was a little bit of a dip in the mids, and the lower mids are not that pleasing. I found it to be more of a thing on the DT1350 than this. Even though the bass is more accentuated, the treble is more accentuated, so it gives me a bit of a V-shaped signature, which I, full disclosure, personally do not really like on headphones, but these didn't sound that bad. At first, I thought, okay, these are a little strange, but they grew on me. And these sound great coming from whatever you want to listen to them. I listened to them on my Samsung S6. They sounded really good. Really good for the genres of music that you could expect yourself to be listening on in public. I mean, if you're on the train or something, if you're walking in public, you don't really want to listen to Pink Floyd, do you? I mean, if you do, that's cool, I would do. But not on these headphones. These are more for like the thumping bass and the snappy top end side of things. I like listening to it on my own M1S. This is a relatively new digital audio player. I found this to have a very natural sound, which goes well with this. Actually, I do believe there's more detail, especially compared to my phone and the Realtek drivers on my laptop. Of course, I also have my Basso DX80, which is also a very nice option. But, I'm not going to try to stereotype anybody. But I do want to say, if you're going for a portable headphone, this could definitely be a consideration based on your demo. You need to demo this first. I recommend demos for everything. If you are able to, please do go ahead. Like I said, this is up in Audio Sanctuary. You can go check it out. It'll be on display there once I give it back. Now, the thing about the sound characteristic is definitely more fun-tuned, not as neutral, but I'll tell you one thing. If you want neutral, I would not go for a pair of cans you want to go listen to in public, because the DT1350, the reason I sold it is because it didn't provide me really exciting sound characteristic when I was using it in public, and I was tired of constantly EQing them to sound like I wanted to for more upbeat genres in public. And I needed the money for something else to review. That's another reason. But yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. This does away with that in the way that this is a certain price headphone, and it's a portable headphone, and people will be wearing this in public. And for the music that's usually listened to on the go, bass heavy stuff, this can keep up quite well. The bass is quite clean. The clean bass in this, like I have no qualms with the bass on this headphone. They don't bleed into the mids at all. The separation between the mids, the highs, and the bass is very well done on these headphones, which I can't say about the Beats Solo 2, and which I couldn't say so well about the Urbanite either. So in that regard, this is a superior headphone to both of those in the portable range. So no qualms there. The highs, like I said, can get a little shrill at times, which is honestly almost like a staple with Beyerdynamic, or has been in recent years. They might be revamping that, more on that later. But the fact that it's just a very clean sound overall. Yes, there's some tonal weirdness going on, but it doesn't, if you're just grabbing a set of cans and you want to put them in your head, you want to listen to them in public, it's not that bad. It's actually quite good. It might suit you. It might suit you very well, so do give them a try if you can. And the design, unique. I have not seen a knockoff of these headphones anywhere. I've seen knockoffs of Sennheisers, knockoffs of course, Beats, knockoffs of all kinds of headphones. Never seen a knockoff of a Beyerdynamic product, because these just have such a unique look to them. So if this is your style, if you want like the metallic look, then yeah, go for it. Genres of music, I just want to quickly touch on this that I like with this, is the more upbeat genres. Like I said, these also have a good amount of speed to them. So if you want to listen to something with double bass drums and metal music, these are just fine. You can do that with this, no problem. And of course, I just want to clarify, these have that Tesla driver technology that Beyerdynamic likes to implement. I still don't know what it does entirely, but it sounds pretty good. But I can't say this shares characteristics with their T1, which I listen to in the store, also on display. Just very different things, so I can't really quite contrast that. Do I prefer these over the DT1350 overall? Probably not, because even though those weren't as fun to listen to in public, they did give me a more accurate sense of the music that I was listening to, and I felt like there was more refinement to the sound, even though it, once again, not as exciting. On the go, yeah, these are more exciting. This is the new age. If those are discontinued, this is what you will be considering now if you want a portable can from Beyerdynamic in the 150 to 200 pound region. This is what you'll be looking at. So yeah, I'm gonna have probably depending on my living situation, I might have an end of year roundup of all the headphones that I consider to be portable. And portable headphones, just full disclosure, can mean to me, what they mean are they're easy to drive, first of all. They can be worn in public, and they provide an alright amount of isolation. So this is probably going to be on that list. So check that out when it comes. I'm not sure where it's going to be on the list yet, but I have to contrast it with other cans that I listen to. So look out for that. And once again, thank you to Audio Sanctuary for providing this review unit. I'll be giving it back to them today. And yeah, just the same advice as always. I've tried to break down the sound to you guys, but if you feel like this, because I would definitely recommend that you need to listen to this before purchasing. It's not really a blind. It's not like the Illyria, which I liked immediately out of the box, where I would just say yes, absolutely. If you like hyper genres of music, if you like the more attack-based genres of music, go ahead and buy the Illyria if you can afford it. No, this isn't quite like that. This is more of a preference thing. Because if you're going to spend this much on portable headphones, there are other options in the market. Who knows? You could be different than me and my tastes, and you could actually go for the Solo 2. Because I have heard people prefer, some people in our headphones Discord, they've been telling me they prefer the Solo 2 to the Urbanite and this. So it's a preference thing, guys. So yeah, check these out if you can or if you want to, and thanks for watching.